Good morning out there. Good morning on this snowy day. Everybody snowed in, and um, some people enjoying themselves. Some people wondering what's going on. It's a lot uh, going on out here right now with this weather and everything. But today I decided to come on. I might do a whole different podcasts or different subjects today. But this one right here, I want to talk about a Soberheadz message of the day, and it was the thought of the day that came out yesterday, and it was a good one. I sent it out to people yesterday, and I wanted to chime on it today because it has a lot to do with sobriety and the different things that we do, and a turning point that it can have in your life when you take the necessary steps to try to get better. Um, Yesterday, the message thought of the day. We're gonna go through the thought of the day of yesterday, the meditation, and the prayer. And it's a real serious subject of what they talking about, and it could be a life changer if you're willing to go down that road of what they saying that needs to be done in terms of being honest with yourself. Because when it comes down to this addiction, whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever it is, most of the times it comes down with us not being able to be honest within ourselves, honest about our lives, about who we are, about what we're going through, about things of that nature. And running away from that, we run to the alcohol, the sex, the drugs, the gambling, any other addiction, the shopping, any other addiction that come along with it because we don't want to be honest with ourselves. So I'm gonna read from the beginning. It says, and remember, this is the thought of the day of yesterday. It says, alcoholics who are living in a blind alley refuse to be honest with themselves or with other people. They're running away from life and won't face things as they are. They won't give up their resentments. They're too sensitive and too easily hurt. They refuse to try to be unselfish. They still want everything for themselves. And no matter how many disastrous experiences they have had with drinking, they still do it over and over again. There's only one way out of that blind alley and a way of living, and that's to change your thinking. Have I changed my thinking? Wow. And he's right. So let's take it from the top. Alcoholics are living in a blind alley and refuse to really be honest with themselves or with other people. For years, I was definitely living in a blind alley. Refusing to be honest, definitely lying to myself and lying to other people. Lying to myself by telling myself that I don't really have a problem. Lying to myself by telling myself that it was okay for the duty behaviors that I had no business doing, rationalizing it in my mind, pointing out other people's shortcomings because I didn't want to stop drinking. So when I didn't want to stop drinking and I knew somebody was struggling with something else, it was easy for me to point out what they were doing because I didn't want to stop my behavior. And it didn't take for me to really it took for me to really hit my bottom where I finally was able to be honest. Up to that point, I wasn't really able to be honest with myself because anytime I saw that it was a glimmer of hope that I could still go out and drink without consequences, I was willing to do it. It's always that blind hope of I could still drink without consequences. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was in a meeting one time and a lady said that she was talking and she said that if you show an alcoholic a picture, two pictures, you know how they be like, choose the room, choose the best room for your life, room A or room B. And she said that room A have a changed life, a nice wife, a beautiful house, nice cars, everything. That's the sober life. And room B will just have disaster, everything, but it'll have a whole shelf of all the best alcohol you like. She said 9 times out of 10, when that alcoholic still sees room B, it's going to cross his mind. Can he get in and get out without being scathed? Can he get in and get out unscathed? That's the mind of an alcoholic, because the honesty does not hit. Nothing changes until we're totally honest about the situation. And then they go into some of the things that we would do. Like, they won't give up their resentments. I had resentments to the core. Like, to the core of my soul. There was so many people that I had resentments towards during my alcoholism. And there was no way that I was trying to give up those resentments. Not understanding, because when you were in that alcoholic stage, you're always the person that's the victim. You're always everybody's always doing stuff to you. You can't see your part in anything, because during that time I'm selfish and self-centered. So everything is about what I want, and everything is about how I want it right now in terms of the dopamine feelings. Believe me, when it's not just the alcohol, it's that we chasing the dopamine. We want that feeling. We want that feeling, even if on your social media, when you get in comments and likes and things of that nature, that sign that hits you, that goes through you when you see 25 comments or all of these likes and people sharing it, that's a dopamine. That feeling you get when that dealer says blackjack, that's a dopamine. When you hit on that crap table, that feeling that go through, that's a dopamine. When you bite that chocolate cake and that feeling that go through your body, that's what we chase, and that's what makes us selfish and self-centered in addiction, because that's what we're gonna chase. But how do we get out? We gotta be honest. Totally honest. They won't give up their resentments. It's hard to give them up because it's our protection. It's our protection from, if I'm spending so much time having resentments from so many different people, then that means that I don't have to concentrate on me. If I could write down a list of so many people that I got resentments towards, and then really concentrate on them, keep talking about what they're doing to me, how they ruining my life, how they doing this, how they doing that, I never have to look at the mirror and say, what's wrong with you? And they say resentments is like drinking poison and hoping the other person die, because the only person that's dying is you inside. The other person home sleep. While you sitting there with your resentments and you angry and this and that person ain't thinking about you. That person is home sleeping, having a good night. You up tossing and turning, angry and this and that, and giving that person too much power over you. Next, being too sensitive and too easily hurt. Yeah, because we don't want to deal with our pain from the past. So when you don't want to deal with the pain from the past, you're too sensitive and easily hurt, because soon as somebody get close to you, they might touch one of them scars. They might remind you of somebody from your past. Their voice might remind you of your mother or your father. The way they dress, the way they smell might remind you of an ex that hurt your feelings. But since we don't want to go back and get that past right and do that and shape it up and get it good and face it and face that trauma, we're going to be too sensitive and too easily hurt, because we don't want to face that trauma. We don't want to face that trauma. And until we face it, this thing is just going to keep going on and on in our life. Then they say they refuse to try to be unselfish. Everything is about what I'm doing. The only time I want to do something is when I felt I was going to get something in return. Or I felt bad and say, all right, let me just go out and do this to make it look good and things of that nature. But that's not the goal when I used to wake up in the morning. Now when I wake up in the morning, the goal is to try to do something for somebody I can help. Tell God the point me in direction of somebody I can help. That's the goal now. Before that wasn't the goal. The goal was, how can I get dopamine into me all day? And it's crazy when your mind tells you, I'm having a beautiful day, only if the day is full of me getting dopamine. Whether it was from alcohol, whether it was from women, whether it was from going to the casinos just to chill out, whether it was from visions and places I had no business going, whether it was from all of that, I needed that. So being selfish was just the way of life. Now I ask him, how can you point me in the direction of somebody I can help? But I've been there. And when you sit under the wedge of alcoholism, it's hard for you to even understand. Your way of thinking seems normal. It seems normal for you to be totally selfish. It seems normal to know that your family's waiting for you at dinner at home, but you want to go to the bar and you want to come up with all these stories about where you at. Next thing you know, you didn't miss dinner at the crib. You come staggering in the house almost midnight. We don't even see the selfishness and self-centeredness. But when we at the bar, all we thinking about is, I'm trying to have me some fun. I'm trying to have me some fun. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. I remember missing dates in terms of like important things of counseling sessions and this and that, blah, 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 because I wanted to drink. But in my mind, that seemed cool. Like, it's my life. I don't got nothing. I'm not hurting nobody, but you really are. You're not being present. You're not being around. We really are. We really was hurting people. But we can't understand it when we in it. That's how strong that alcoholism is. It's no joke. That's how strong those other addictions are. We have a warped way of thinking. Our thinking is totally obscure. We don't even know how bad it is because it seems so normal. We don't know. And when somebody trying to tell me that, yo, you wilding in the way you thinking, I'm telling them to get out of my face. They're too sensitive and too easily hurt. They refuse to try to be unselfish. They want everything for themselves. 1010%. I wanted everything for myself. And I thought that the more things that you bring in, the more things you collect, the more things you have, that means that your life is successful. I never even knew that the success comes from doing God's will and spreading his word to others and being able to be in service for others. When you're into alcoholism and other addictions, your mind is switched the other way, and it makes you feel like having everything and achieving everything and acquiring everything is the way of life. But in essence, that's the opposite. And it says, and no matter how many disastrous experiences they have had with drinking, they still do it over and over again. No matter what I went through that night before, it seemed like it was okay again. Because my mind would tell me it ain't going to be like that, like it was before. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like it was when I was younger, when I first started drinking. It's going to be a nice, beautiful day. And I'm not going to act like I didn't have days when it felt like fun. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that. It wasn't disastrous until it got disastrous. But the one thing about it is it flips on you. And once it flip on you, you're gone, but your mind tell you it's going to be like it was before. That's the greatest trick of the alcohol. It's so sneaky. They say it's cunning, baffling, and powerful because it just sneaks up on you. It was like I went from partying in Club Dress in Vegas to being isolated in the basement overnight. Now, I don't know what happened in between. Let's take it back farther than that. I went from partying in college to alcohol to being isolated in the basement. And in between, you like, how did I get from there to there? because that thing is cunning, baffling, powerful. It's the only disease that tell you you don't have a disease. It would sit there and let you rationalize in your head why it's okay for you to drink. No matter what happened the night before, did you pass out? You fell out. You did this. You did that. People that experience blackout. I never experienced it before, but I heard the stories and people that experience it. No matter what the stories they told you did last night, you still feel like it's okay for you to do it again the next day because inside we're selfish and self-centered and we want what we want. Once that obsession get in that mind, I gotta have it, because it attacks you three ways: physically, mentally, and spiritually. Physically, once we take that first drink, we gotta have another one, and another one, and another one. Mentally, the obsession, I gotta have something to drink today, no matter what's going on. And spiritually, because we don't care about nobody but ourselves. Selfish and self-centered to the core. To the core, man. Just think about that, man. How many times your wife or your husband wanted you to go somewhere with them, and you was like, you came up with an excuse because you wanted to drink. I used to be on vacation, and I used to vacation a lot, and I really could have enjoyed the excursions more if I was totally locked in. Some of them was dope. The jet skiing and the wheelers and driving through that was pretty dope. But some of the tours and all like that, all I was thinking about was the swim up bar. So I'm not even taking in the culture of the places, trying to really learn. All I'm keep looking at my watch, wondering if the swim up bar gonna be closed when I get back to the resort. And that was the sign of my alcoholism early, because I wouldn't even go to a resort if they ain't have like 2 or 3 swim up bars. I'm being first. That's the first thing I asked for when I used to sit down with the travel agent. Do they have swim up bars? And then once I knew they had swim up bars, then I got to make sure they had premium liquor. I knew that there was a logo on the inside the pamphlet of the thing to let me know if they had premium liquor at the swim up bar or not. That's how deep my alcoholism was. And that's crazy when that makes you decide on what resorts you're going to stay at. But that's the thinking, because it was selfish and self-centered. Just being totally honest. Selfish and self-centered. There's only one way out of this blind alley way of living, and that's to change your thinking. Have I changed my thinking? For the most part, yeah, in terms of being honest. And I had to be honest when I did step 4 and 5. That's what really broke all of that stuff up. And I had to be honest for the first time in my life, because I thought my life was on the line. When you feel your life is on the line, you're willing to be honest then. I had a brother that talked to me yesterday because I had to apologize for something that I did. I'm not gonna get into details, but I had to apologize to a couple people about some behavior, some comments I made or something like that. You know what I mean? Being in my emotions and stuff. And he asked me, like, how was it so easy for me to be able to apologize like that? And I told him, once I did step 4 and 5, anything in life that you got to apologize about in terms of that, it's not as hard as it would if I didn't do that process. Because in step 4, I was so scared. And the first time I had to be honest when I did that inventory. So when I did my sex inventory, I had to be honest about everything. Who was I sleeping with? What did I try to get out the situation? Was I manipulating the situation? Was I doing this and doing that? Yes, I had to be totally honest for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Totally honest. And when I had to be honest on my resentments, who I don't like, why I don't like them, and what part did I play in it? For the first time, I had to be honest. Had to be honest for the first time, man. What did I fear? I had to write it all out. What was I fearing? What did I fear in my life? Why did I fear it? I had to be totally honest, man. And who did I harm? Who did I harm, man? You know what I'm saying? What's up, brother Jay? I'm gonna send you the thing. You wanna jump on? You could jump on. I'll send it to you right now if you want to jump on. Had to be honest about it, man. And looking at myself and looking at my patterns of behavior. See, when you see yourself, you could rationalize anything when you talking to yourself. Yeah, she knew I was married when I got with her, this and that. Like, she knew all of that, man. Yeah, she knew I was married. Blah blah blah. Hold on, let me send that brother the link. He could pop on in a second. Send him the link real quick. Yeah, she knew I was married. I sent you the link, bro. So whenever, just pop on and we'll try to get you in. Yeah, she knew I was married. This was going on. That was going on. You get what I'm saying? But when I saw my pattern, of what I was doing, the behaviors I had with the women, and understanding, like, nah, bruh, you can't blame none of these people. Look, this is you. They was from different parts of the country. You get what I'm saying? The women was from everywhere, but your behavior was the same. When you get tired of writing the same thing over and over again, you just start putting quotation marks. That's not a good look. It's terrible, man. And I had to be honest about it. How many people were you mentally abusive to? How many people did you neglect? How many were you verbally abusive to? In terms of the harms. How many people did you used to crack jokes on thinking it was funny when you was young, but in essence, you was hurting them because you was insecure? That's how honest you got to get when you do the process. And then when you see it, it breaks you. So then now you think that part breaks you enough, then you got to go tell it to somebody else. Everything. Can you do that? Can you sit down and tell somebody that? I had to tell it to the first person I ever told everything was a person that I just met in Florida at rehab, and they assigned me a sponsor. The good thing about it is I knew I didn't see him every day. I knew he didn't really know me like that. And what he did was smart, was he told me a lot about himself, about some of the situations he was in, some of the dumb stuff he did. And as a good sponsor, that's something that you do, and it will help you get the other person that you're sponsoring to be able to get comfortable to when they get to step 4 and 5. And that was a great thing that my sponsor did that was down in Florida. I won't break his anonymity, but that's what he did. If he wanted to break his anonymity, that's up to him. But he was able to make me comfortable by telling me a lot about himself. And then once I started telling him, and once I got done, it broke me. Like another guy knew everything about me. So how can you be arrogant and think you the guy and this and that, and your pride, ego. Ain't no more of that. It's broken. Because you've been exposed. You've been exposed. I think Brother Jay, I'm gonna try to get him on. Hold on. What up, bro?
What's good with you, man?
Man, just wanted to pop on, man, and talk. I had read the joint yesterday, and it was about, I sent it out, but I ain't really had time to really build on it yesterday because of getting ready for this storm thing and this and that. I know I had a lot of running around to do, but
Okay.
and it was the Shabbat, and I don't really go on Saturdays to talk about recovery. But when I saw it today, I was like, I wanted to build on it, and it was talking about you still got the joint I sent you yesterday? Let me see.
Nah, I ain't get it.
All right, let me see if I can pull it up. So read that. You can look at it and then see if you want to build on it. Let me see. It says screen. Oh, here you go. You see it?
That's coming up. I can't say it though. You could read it out loud. I can't.
You can't see it on your screen?
Hold on, let me pull it up. I'm working off my phone because I ain't got.
Okay. It says alcoholics who are living alcoholics who are living in a blind alley refuse to be really honest with themselves or with other people. They're running
Mhm.
away from life and won't face things as they are. They won't give up their resentments. They're too sensitive and too easily hurt. They refuse to try to be unselfish. They still want everything for themselves. And no matter how many disastrous experiences they have had with drinking, they still do it over and over again. There's only one way out of that blind alley way of living, and that's to change your thinking. Have I changed my thinking? Mm.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's definitely something. I mean, I mean, the last part is the best part. You know what I mean? You really have to change your thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I,
100%.
I just told one of my
100%.
friends, who invited me on vacation.
Uh-huh.
I was like, look, bro, I'm just being honest with you. I know y'all still, y'all out there, y'all doing what y'all do. I'm like, that ain't gonna fly for me. You know what I mean? So like, I'm gonna just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I
Mhm.
did go, I would be going for the sole purpose of just playing golf and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going out, I'm not hanging out, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to no clubs, I'm not being around none of that craziness because at the end of the day, my sobriety is more important than anything. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
And then,
mm.
trying to explain to people like, you know, you continuously do the steps. It ain't like you do the steps and then you over and done with
100%.
it. You know what I mean? Like I
100%.
still got to do the steps every single day. You know what I mean? You know,
100%.
uh, making amends with people is making amends is the main part of how I remain sober. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
and that you can't be selfish in that part. You know what I mean? What I mean by that
Mhm.
is just like you said, and that's when I jumped on when you were like, you got to look at the part that you played in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Facts.
and
That's the tough part right there.
now it's
Tough
like
part.
I
That's the tough
control.
part, man.
I tell people like even when I'm talking to these kids today, I go back to control the controllable. You know what I mean? The
Mhm.
part that we played when we was in the world, when we was drinking and everything else, we can blame it on the alcohol all we want to, but at some point, we knew what we was doing.
Facts. Facts.
Because we
Facts.
continue to do it again and again and again. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If I didn't know what I was doing, it would only been one time. You know what I mean? So, like you said, especially when it came to the sexual immortality. You know what I mean? Like you just, like it never was good enough. You know what I mean? Like you got this good girl at home, and you like, oh man, it's not good enough. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So,
Facts.
I tell
Facts.
people all the time, like this is the only marriage I've been in where I actually been faithful because at the end of the day, it's a marriage that was, rooted in God. You know what I mean? Like,
Talk about it, brother.
if my wife wasn't doing the same thing or trying to, to hold me accountable, how would I be out here? Like, you know what I'm saying? It'd be easy for me to just be like, oh, well, I'm having an argument with my wife. Let me go slide over to the side chick house.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Now
Mhm.
it's like, hey, I have an argument with my wife. She like, hey, we better get on our knees and pray. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
What did you how did you feel after going? Because what happened was I had a situation that I had to handle and make some amends to a couple of brothers and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
about something that I assumed that wasn't true or whatever. And one of the brothers asked me like, how did you? How was that so easy for you to do? Like your pride and nothing ain't stop you from being able to make the amends. And I told him like once I did 4 and 5 the first time,
Yeah.
that crushed all of that.
Yeah.
So now if I'm wrong about something like that, like I can apologize. I even apologize to my kids at work. If I do something wrong and I
Mm-hmm.
was wrong, you get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I apologize. How was that transformation for you in terms of when you was honest, totally honest about everything the first time? Like how did it feel? And then how did it help you on the road of being honest when you're wrong about stuff?
Well, for me, the 4 and 5 was like when I let it out. You know what I mean? Like it was like a baggage that just came off of my. You know what I mean? A weight that just came off of my shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then once
yeah.
I did it, I felt like I didn't have to do it again. You know what I mean? As far as like,
Mhm.
you know, when we say we're gonna do God's will and we give everything to God, that I gave it to God. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't have to say sorry to you for something I already apologized for 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, if I did something 10 seconds ago or 10 days ago, then that's the only thing I'm apologizing for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying. Like, but do you feel that the process you did 10 years ago makes it easier for you to apologize for stuff you do now?
I say the the actions that I saw from me making amends 10 years ago makes it
Mhm.
easier for me to make amends now because
Yeah, yeah, that
my
makes
life
sense.
got better because I didn't have that resentment. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
and then I try to tell that to, anybody I come across, like, hey man, I don't hold grudges with people because at the end of the day, I'm gonna pray for you. You know what I mean? Because in order for me to stay sober, it's not about me, it's about the people around me. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
you know, I always tell people you breathe life into a situation on how you respond to it. You know what I mean?
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Because I always used to laugh and be like, yo, man, Mike, Mike joints, his tournaments, they off the hook. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it was a point where, like I said, I would come down and, I'd be on the orange and be on the blue one year. You know what I'm saying? And then,
Uh,
you think you deserve to be somewhere that you should be, but you're not grateful for the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
hmm.
And that's the thing. So like I look at my mistakes, I look at my lessons, and more importantly, I look at going to the meetings. When I was going to meetings, I'm like, hey man, you don't got nothing to be in here complaining about. These people got it worse than you. You know what I'm saying?
Facts,
Like,
facts,
so
facts.
it's always that things to keep you humble. But like I said, when you do the steps and you see that they work,
Mhm.
that's your fallback on. You know what I'm saying? So now you got two things to fall back on. Step one was basically giving it over to a higher power. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then once you know that you can't do nothing without God, that's when I think it is your recovery will get real. You know what I mean? Like, because you got to have that motivation and you got to want more. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why, like I said, I appreciate what you do because you ain't comfortable with where you are in your sobriety. You know what I mean?
Nah, man, I gotta. Like I said, I just made a mistake and stuff that I had to repair it, and that lets me know. And that was my lack of acceptance. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Patience and acceptance, and patience is something that I still struggle with in terms of letting things happen on God's time
Yeah.
instead of when I want it to happen or how fast I want it to happen, or you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because I'm a I like to set goals and then accomplish them with a checklist.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but life ain't like that. I could set that goal for myself and do it, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't put that goal on other people and expect them to have it done when I go back with my checklist. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where I'm wrong at for having that. And sometimes it can help people in terms of motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it could be I hinder myself because it all comes down to my expectations.
Yeah.
and that's where I go wrong at. So I got to get better in terms of patience. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'll probably jump on and do a lesson on patience so I could really learn for myself
Oh,
while I'm telling other people about it. You know what I mean? And acceptance.
oh yeah,
Sometimes it ain't, you got to be able to accept life on life terms, and sometimes that's
bro.
kind of
We say it, not realizing it's the key to life, and that's the serenity prayer. You know what I
I
mean?
know, I know, I
I
know,
mean, you gotta
I
really
know.
realize that you live that prayer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Accept the things
yeah,
I cannot change. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
I can't change 10 years ago when I was in somebody's daughter and you know what I mean, or
yeah,
cussing somebody's son out, or
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I mean? But I thank God that now I know he gave me the wisdom to know the difference. You know what I mean? So like
yeah, yeah.
there's
So now I can
situations,
know. Yeah.
yeah, there's situations where I just walk away from now. You know what I mean? Like I'm not entertaining that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what God has for me, he has for me. What he has for you, he has for you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But I mean, right now, I just want to be around like-minded people. And sometimes, like I tell people now, I could count that circle on my hand. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
you know,
Mm. All right, let's get to the all right, what they says they're too sensitive and too easily hurt. They
yeah.
refuse to try to be unselfish. They won't give up their resentments. Can you relate to any of that stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, because as an alcoholic, we use excuses to drink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
There you go.
uh,
Yeah.
hey man, my mom just passed away. You know what I'm saying? I just got divorced. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
having a bad day at work. You know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
these are all feelings. You know what I mean? Not realizing that we try to drink our hurt away. You know what I mean? So like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that is lack of discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh.
it all goes back to time. You know what I mean? Time, feelings. Like what am I doing with my time? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And
because
it boils down to in some cases like thinking too much about ourselves. Because when
yeah,
you and I don't want nobody to take this the wrong way, but it's honest. I was reading about this and I did some studying on it and stuff like that. But
hmm
when we're depressed, it's actually being selfish because it means that we're consuming our own thoughts about ourselves too much.
yeah,
Like, what am I like? Why is this happening to me? Uh, why I'm not getting what I want? Why I'm not getting what I need? Woe is
hmm
me. So then one of the way outs is going out finding somebody to do something for without expecting anything in return. So as
yeah,
soon as we come up off of thinking about ourselves
hmm
and start thinking about other people, that's when that spirit start to lift.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But most of the time it was me getting up, going to the liquor store, especially in the end, going in the
hmm
basement, thinking about what I'm going through, thinking
yeah,
about that these cops is accusing me, thinking about she's gone, turning
hmm
on watching drink champs and stuff, getting drunk, and turning on some sad music,
yeah,
thinking about me and thinking about the situation. You get what I'm saying? But during all that time, it never occurred to me to just go get out the house and go find somebody to help without expecting anything in return. Cause
oh yeah,
then I got addicted to that. I got addicted to the self-soothing and the and being down in that pit. You understand what I'm saying?
hmm
But when you unwrap it, it was still me being selfish. Cause
yeah,
all I'm doing is thinking about myself.
yeah. I
You
mean,
know what I'm
you
saying?
you said something that, like I said, my wife always tell me, like she always say this, like, nigga, don't buy me no flowers and expect something in return. You know what I mean? Like, you got me flowers because you wanted to get me flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and selfishly, it goes back to the gratification, that self gratification of you feel as if you have to do something and then somebody has to give you a thank you in return. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
always go back to the faith and the trust in God. You know what I mean?
Mm,
There's multiple
mm,
times that we pray and we ask God for something, and then it doesn't happen right away. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen when we want it to happen. It happens when He wanted, us to receive it. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that goes back to what you said about doing a podcast on patience. You know what I mean? Like part of the recovery journey is having the patience and the discipline to manage your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like you said, depression is real. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
and and probably in our lowest points when we struggled with depression, we was by ourselves. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I tell people all the time is alcohol was the way that I treated my depression. You know what I mean? Sleeping with women was the way I treated my depression. Gambling was the way that I treated my depression. You know what I'm saying? And now you have to come up with different ways where you got to maneuver this world and find something to so that you don't fall back into that
Yeah,
stage. You know what I mean?
yeah, because it was self medication.
Yeah.
That's all
You
we was
know?
doing was using that to escape
Oh
what
yeah.
we wanted to feel. You know what I'm saying? So like then it talked about being too easily hurt and too sensitive. And I
Hmm.
talked about earlier, like since we ain't want to deal with our trauma in the past, soon as somebody touch anywhere near that wound,
Yeah.
you gonna be sensitive. You gonna bark. You gonna be like, yo, you get what I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah.
until you deal with it.
I
Until
mean,
you
I
deal
I
with
I
the
think about
trauma,
some of the
man.
conversations that we used to have. You know what I mean? Especially
Yeah.
when it came to basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like if you said something that, oh, this dude was nice, and I felt like he wasn't nice. Now I'm trying to overtalk you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a competition. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
as the sad part is black men, we hate to see another black man right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the
Mm.
end of the world because instead of me looking at it like, yo, my brother just gave me some advice, you know what I mean? He pointed me in the
That's
right
deep.
direction on
That's
how to
deep.
change my life. It's like, yo, man, you talk to Mike Melton, he talking that Jesus stuff. He think he better than me. No, I don't think I'm better than you. I'm trying to let you know that, bro. Me and you used to walk the same streets. We used to do the same thing. You know what I mean? Like that life it ain't for us no more. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You know?
indeed. So let's get to the other part. It says the prayer, the meditation. I know that vision and power that I receive from God is limitless. As for far as the spiritual things are concerned, but in temporal and material things, I must submit limitations. I know that I cannot see the road ahead. I must go just one step at a time because the Most High does not grant me a longer view. I am in uncharted waters, limited by temporal and spatial life, but unlimited in my spiritual life. Wow. And what I'm gonna say about that is he not lying, bro, because
That's
you
deep.
you could try to the think I could try to think that I know how to maneuver because I know what's coming, but I always remember when I woke up September 14th, 2009, I didn't know my life was gonna be flipped upside down.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like we
Hmm.
don't know what's gonna happen. Like we go
Yeah, yeah.
outside during the day, you don't know what's gonna happen and how he might position something, and he might have been preparing you years ago for this moment
Yeah.
that's about to happen. And you don't even know. And you like, yo, like, what's going on? You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So our view is very, very short when it comes to trying to predict what's gonna happen or try to prepare yourself for what's gonna happen. All you could do is, for me, is try to get locked in spiritually with the Holy Spirit and
Hmm.
tell her to guide me through. That's all I could do. Other than that, trying to it'll work. I'll worry myself to death trying to be able to predict and
Yeah,
protect
yeah, yeah.
myself from what's
Yeah.
coming around that corner. That's where the faith in Him has to go. What you
Mhm.
say about that?
I mean, I like one of them old church songs. We come this far by faith. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Leaning on the Lord. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you said a word that we still deal with to this day. We're in uncharted waters. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts, facts.
being married, faithful, God fearing
Woo,
Christian
woo,
black men. That's
woo.
that's uncharted, man. You know what I'm saying? Like to be out here on the podcast, just exposing yourself and telling telling people the love that you got for God and the
Mhm.
mistakes you made in your life. You know what I mean? Like we don't care what people think about us because, like I said,
Facts.
we doing God's will. You know what I'm saying? When you're
Mhm.
doing God's will, you're already protected. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm. You bringing
and
it
that's
out,
why
bro.
I could say, like, being out of the game for a little bit is crazy because, like, it's, you know, I've been out of the game for a minute, and people like, yo, you gonna come back? You gonna come back? And I'm like, I've been every year. I'll say I'm not coming back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And then I'm like, well, they got a head coaching, somebody got a head coaching job for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, I don't think I'm ready. You know what I mean? Like, and then, like I said, I'm so close to finishing up this degree
All
in
praise
substance
to the Most High, man.
in substance abuse, man. It's just like, I gotta follow what God has for me. You know what I mean? And
How
sometimes,
do it? How,
go
how
ahead.
do it feel though? How do it feel like one of the one of the one of the things that the adversary had to try to throw in front of me, and you're gonna be able to relate, like how you gonna walk away from being Mike Melton, B-ball spotlight. Like when you walk in the gym now, people, you're not gonna get that attention that you used to get. Like people are gonna, like, you're not gonna have that kind of people not gonna be reaching out to you for information. People, you basically not gonna be that person no more. And he tried to throw that because the money part I was cool with, like, because
Yeah,
it comes and goes, but being that figure in that world to be able to say, all right, JJ Hoops, that's all that everybody knew me, is that as soon as they saw me, they thought about the teams I had and the work I was doing and this and that.
hmm
How are you managing walking away from that person?
Well, it's funny, man, because I'm married. Man, I kid you not, man. And
Uh-huh.
my wife will be on the phone and she'll say something like, yo, yeah, me and John and me and John and me and John and me and John. And I'm saying, who is John? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you become that JJ, the JJ Hoops, you know what I mean? You forget that, for a while, I forgot my name was John Rogers, you know what I mean? Like,
Wow.
because
Wow.
everything was centered around basketball, you know what I mean? Like, I go
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
my kids will even have to go, like, hey, man, I'm tired. Everywhere I go is little JJ, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, so to be honest, I always tell people, I'm relevant wherever I go because I am who I am, and I don't
Mm-hmm,
change.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? So,
mm-hmm,
like,
mm-hmm.
my platform now is letting kids know that God is real. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
The realness of making mistakes. Having a kid at a young age. Having kids out of wedlock. You know what I mean? Just doing stuff that you ain't supposed to be doing. So I feel comfortable with who I am and what my purpose is now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what it is to be the man. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
But do I know what it is to be a man that's not ashamed to tell a kid that I love God or let me pray for him?
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm.
and that's the difference. So I'm comfortable with that part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I know my message, and every time I got an opportunity to speak to someone, the one thing I will say I like about going to the games down here is they pray before the games. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm, mhm,
and that's deep. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm.
some days it'll be a administrator, some days it'll be a kid. You know what I mean? But the 9 out of 10 games that you go to down here, it's gonna be a prayer said before the game. You know what I mean? Which I think is the dopest thing ever.
So in essence, even when we was doing um the basketball thing and we was gaining the popularity and stuff, and then we built platforms.
hmm
That was part of his plan too, because
hmm
now the platform could be used for him. But we
Oh
didn't
yeah,
even know that's goes back to what we just read about that view.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
get what I'm saying? I'm thinking that
hmm
I'm building this platform to take b-ball spotlight to astronomical levels and things of that nature, but I'm actually building the b-ball spotlight platform so when I leave and talk about him, he
Yeah,
already helped me have a platform. And that's the part, like, that goes back to what we just read about having limited view
yeah.
of what's going on.
The scary
You know
part
what I'm saying?
about basketball spotlight and JJ hoops and you know different other platforms out there is that the amount of lives that you saved, even when you was out in the world struggling to keep your
Mm,
own life. You know what I'm saying? So like,
mm.
the message was even in the midst, God was still using you to be that beacon of light for somebody
Mhm.
who didn't have it. And then, like I said, look at you coming from Trenton. You know what I mean? The Trenton that you grew up in versus the Trenton now is night and day. But the fact that you can go back and still have conversations and let young people know, like, look, man, I'm from the same street you done came from. But
Mhm. Mhm.
unlike me, I'm telling you now, like nobody told us at that one. The crazy part is nobody told us we was wilding in that environment that we was in. You know what I'm saying? Think
Facts.
about it. Anytime we went to a event and we was like, think about the people we was. It was NJ Hoops before it was Basketball Spotlight slash Hoop Group, and every event we went to had something to do with alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody mom really coming at you to write an
Uh-huh.
article on their
Uh-huh.
kids by any
Uh-huh.
means necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh. Mhm.
and we didn't have nobody saying like, "Yo, Mike, man, you can't be doing that. That's a married woman." You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
You know,
Facts. Facts.
and
Facts.
that's the realness of now when you got these young kids out there, and I see, you know. I might see somebody going at a referee sideways, and I'm like, "Yo, man, chill." You know what I'm saying? I used to do the same thing. That ain't good, especially if it's a black referee and we going at his head, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's very humbling, man.
What the other day I did a video that I wanted to get your take on. And it's off the alcohol topic, but something that you was just hitting on now. And I was talking about when I had saw uh the Trent High players quitting the game. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I was talking about there's really no consequences for losing no more. Cause you know what I mean, like the way y'all play, like the way that I was doing tournaments,
Mhm.
it was a champion every weekend. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
now they playing circuits where you playing your 5 games, but now the games, especially when you know you ain't gonna win the championship, then the games start to become meaningless
Hmm.
over those weekends. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, when you was leaving the game, did did you see the same thing in terms of the values and the morals and of competition and everything was going in another direction? And how did that make you feel if you saw the same thing?
I mean, I thought it was a joke. You know what I mean? Like for me, I always tell
Wow.
people like this. I mean, I played basketball. You know what I mean? So when I came in to Long Branch High School as a freshman, I played one game of freshman. That was it as a
Mm,
ninth grader. You know what I mean? I immediately went up to sit varsity and JV. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I wanted to play with my friends and blah blah blah, but I had to move up because that's where the competition was for me. You know what I mean? So as I fast forward in the AAU joint, I remember when I became the coach at Bayshore. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, they was all white kids. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And outside of Lamont, we was dusting everybody else. I'm like, yo, I'm not playing my age group. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
I'm like, yo, Lamont and them up there playing 15s. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do the same thing that they doing. You know what I mean? So I would say this to all coaches: there's no way I could have a legit freshman guard who a big time guard who playing varsity and then let that kid go play 14U AAU basketball. You know what I'm saying? And that's what
mm,
I saw coming out. It was like, yo, man, these kids, they 16 playing in the 13-year-old division, talking about they got the best squad in the country. You know what I mean? Y'all
yeah,
all 3 years older than somebody. You know what I mean? And then, like you
yeah.
said, we going, if I'm gonna fly all the way to Miami from New York and I'm gonna play 4 games and I'm gonna win every game by 50 points, I'm on vacation.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I ain't on no,
mm,
I'm not, what, how did I get my boys better? You know what I'm saying?
facts.
And that's what you
Facts.
see on the circuits. You would see on these circuits, like, you'll have somebody like I'm gonna just use like the players, and then they'll be playing somebody like uh the Trailblazers who's just trying to get on the circuit. They beat them by 60 points. You know what I'm saying?
Mm, mm,
And then when you would go into a tournament, even if it was bracket style. I mean, and that's why they started doing those silver and bronzes
yeah.
because somebody would move up. You would expect to see that person make it to at least the semifinals, and then a squad like mine would come and knock them off. You know what I'm saying? And you like,
Mhm.
oh man, I done flew out here to see these kids, and now they gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why
Yeah.
they started giving you the 5 games. But if you're not matched up against five teams of the, this how circuit scoreboards look. You either gonna win by 50, right? You gonna win by 10, or you gonna win by two or three. That's it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Those are the three scores you got out there. You know what I mean? And if I'm the
Mm.
team that's always losing by 50, why am I even on the circuit?
Yeah, yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad.
Yeah,
It's sad, man.
it's
Yeah,
bad.
man. Yeah, that's what I figured. So we got out at the right time, man.
Yeah.
So what y'all doing? How y'all weather down there, bro?
I mean, it's a little like a misty rain, you know what I'm saying? But it's like 30. I mean, last time I went out was like 31. So if it drop a little bit, if it
But
get
y'all
into
ain't got
20,
no snow though, right?
nah, man, I was kind of mad because
What you mean you mad?
oh wait, because they panic about everything down here,
Okay,
man. So
okay, okay.
I opened my door like Thursday. I'm like, yo, what is all this on my steps? Man, they don't put salt down. Like, bro, you would have thought I was back in New Jersey as much salt as outside of my house right
Man, you
now,
don't
man.
want to be in New Jersey right now, bro. It's snowing like crazy up here.
Is that bad?
Yeah, we supposed to get like between 12 and 18.
That's tough, man. That's tough. That's real tough.
You good, man. You good,
That's
man.
tough. So,
But thanks for coming on, bro,
oh
man.
no, no, my pleasure,
Hey,
man. Like
man.
I said, it don't be nobody but the Holy Spirit. Like I said, I jumped on Facebook. I saw you. I was like, oh man, let me get on this. And I was shocked because I'm like, yo, it's Sunday. You don't really be on Sunday after Sunday mornings, man.
Stuck. It ain't. I can't go nowhere.
Y'all don't got no virtual joints.
No, we got. Of course, we got AA meetings on
Yeah,
Zoom. I'm talking
yeah.
about. I can't. Usually, I go to work on Sunday. I wasn't going in there. I ain't trying to be stuck overnight. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like,
it's that bad, bro.
bro, we can't go nowhere. That's what
Wow,
I'm trying to tell
that's
you.
crazy, man.
And it just started snowing. It's going all day.
Yeah, man. Hey, on another note, man, like you said, because this been bothering my spirits too. Man, what you think about that ice stuff, man?
Um, children of Israel, man. They the children of Israel too. They from the northern kingdom. Like it's part of the prophecy. It's part of the you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Children of Israel, they are brothers and sisters from the northern kingdom. And it's I had to really educate some of the students at my job because they was kind of confused about it and saying things to each other. And I'm trying to let them know, like, all of y'all we just from different tribes. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I'll tell you what, man. Everybody better get right with God. I can tell you that much, boy.
100%. If you and then you can understand what's going on when you don't have that knowledge and you're not
Mm-hmm.
being taught the right way by the people that's teaching you, then you get in all your feelings and emotions because you don't know why.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
And then
what
I
then
was gonna call you anyway, man, because I knew you was gonna run with
oh
that
yeah,
Drewski
yeah, yeah.
video.
But it was all funny when he was talking
Yeah.
about IUIC.
Uh huh. I said,
But
Mike.
then when he started
I
then
said, Mike
when he
can't
started
wait for this one, yo.
but then when he
For
started
real.
talking about them, it was like, oh my God, how he's doing that. Um, but I kind of saw the point in both. Even when
Yeah.
he was talking about them with the stuff that they be doing and things of that, like some of the stuff be just outrageous. So it was I could see the same in both of them. You know
But
what I
that
mean?
goes back to what you said about the because you know me, every time we talk, I got a pin, man.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It goes back to that uncharted waters, man. You know what I mean? Like, what you
You hit a
mean?
home run. You hit a
You know,
home run with that one, man. You hit
that's
a home run.
serious, man. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Because, like I said, bro, the work that you doing, like the pain and purpose, bro. Like it's reaching somebody that need to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
facts, facts,
Even the friends that's cool with us, that their only way to ask for help is to probably talk about us. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
facts,
they can't help, like, yo, Mike, I'm struggling with drinking right now.
Yeah,
How they not gonna do that? You know what I mean?
yeah. But it's
So,
the what you said about being faithful and sober and
yeah.
really for the first time in our lives really turning everything over to God. That's
Hmm.
uncharted. That's
Yeah.
uncharted waters. You know what I mean? And being comfortable in it and wanting to do it.
Oh yeah.
There's a difference between when somebody tell you you have to do something, but
Hmm.
and when you want to do it.
You see that a lot in your program. It's almost like with the
100%.
kids,
100%.
like the kids and adults. You got a choice.
Yeah.
Either you go to this drug program or you go to jail. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
100%.
So what
100%.
am I getting out of it if I'm just going here just so I don't go to jail? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
ain't really getting nothing out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
But you never know though. Sometimes you could be somewhere and the
hmm
most high could have you there and you go in thinking that,
yeah.
then you hear that one thing.
Oh yeah.
Boom. And now
That's it.
your whole thought process is like,
Man.
whoa, that's when them seeds start getting
Oh yeah.
planted. You hear what I'm saying? And
Mine
that's what I
got planted
always,
almost 15 years ago when that man said in the A meeting, he said your next drink could kill you.
yeah, and
Right.
this the thing too, right? What I always tell my kids, like, if you sit here for 60 to 90 days and you and you and you even tell yourself, I don't care, I'm not trying to take none of this in, I'm not learning and this and that, and you just one thing we did do,
hmm
we ruined your fun of getting high and drunk. It ain't gonna never feel the same when you leave here. Cause
Yeah.
you can't unlearn what you learned. So
hmm
even when you out there and you drinking and partying, you now you know what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
So you can't unlearn that. It's never gonna be so now you might try to drown it out with more,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you can't, but it ain't gonna never feel the same. And then those guilt feelings and all that stuff is gonna keep coming because
hmm
once you learn the information, you have the information. Remember when like Belly when DMX was when they assigned DMX to kill the dude that was supposed to be like Farrakhan? Now
Bro, he
while
shot
he
him.
in there, no, listen, when he in there and he gotta act like he one of them to kill the
Yeah.
dude, he's taking in the information.
hmm
You get what I'm saying? So
Oh yeah.
when it came time to the end, he like, whoa, now all that information, you can't unlearn it.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
cause you
You're
know
right.
what I mean, that type of situation. So, you know what I mean? So I'm about to jump off of here and
All right, man.
start
Always a pleasure, man.
tell the wife I said what up, man. And
Yes, sir.
before I go, how the granddaughter doing?
Man, everybody doing well, man. You
All
know,
praise to the most high, brother. All
definitely.
praise to
So,
the most high. All
appreciate
right,
it,
man.
man.
All right,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here if you need me, bro.
All right, man.
All right. That was a good quick jump on joint with my boy. I'm glad my boy Jay came to join us, man. I might pop on again tonight. I'm trying to get in touch with Trey Lowe to see if we still good to do it from pain to purpose tonight. But everybody else, this Mike, enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom.